Raid testing is finally here. Get hype. I'm hype. The favorite. This is the best time of every tier. Alright, so for those of you who haven't done this with me before, usually pretty much all I do is just go through the journal, look at the abilities of the bosses, kind of get an understanding for how the mechanics interact with each other, so how we're gonna have to handle them, which generally leads to like a raid plan-esque idea of how you would want to do the fight, or at least how you'd want to test it, and also points to a bunch of things you might want to test, and I try to like note those down, so that when we actually get to the PTR testing, I can remember what the hell I wanted to test. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Get started, I'm just gonna go in raid testing order, which I think counter order is like alright, cool. So Plexus Sentinel. I have to remind myself to actually read like all of the stuff, because sometimes they put important info in here. Controlling the machinery of Manaforge, the Sentinel ensures that energy from the shattered world is cleanly filtered into the Manaforge's central chamber. As the line of defense, all incoming energy must be sterilized. Okay. Phase Blink. Using the wraps causes the caster to enter an ethereal state of energy and bypassing the atomization process. Sounds like atomization would probably kill you. Yep. 5.7 million damage. That's not... Oh, this is Raid Finder. Okay. I was gonna say, that doesn't sound like that much. We'll go with Heroic for now. 16 million damage. Health bar? I don't know how much health I have. Somewhere around 11 million. Okay, that's potentially survivable. Arcane Civ atomizes all players who come into contact with it. Okay, so what is the Arcane Civ? I don't know yet. Cool. Sentinel sections off portions of the intake with arcane radiation, inflicting 1.8 million damage. So area denial, I assume?
Seems like it. Do we know anything about this fight, like visually?
Test. Test. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Alright, what is the last thing you heard me say?
You were talking about mechanics.
It was like sounds like area denial, and then you like trailed off, and then nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a minute.
My mic like cut out. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So that sounds like area denial. The Civ sounds like a beam that will just kill you if you come into contact with it, and the wraps is your cloak, so we get like Nihilotha cloak again, where it's going to be required to enter the raid and be used on raid encounters, so you use that to fucking, I don't know, not get beamed, sounds like. We don't have any idea about any of the visuals or anything of the fights yet. I don't even think we have like the boss rooms.
Yeah, doesn't look like it.
Yeah, usually when I start this, we don't have like any of the info, and testing is next week, so we may not have it till we actually zone in. But yeah, so I assume the Civ is some sort of beam or ring or something that is just going to move and kill you if you get hit by it without using your cloak. I don't know exactly what enter an ethereal state of energy means, if it actually like moves you to a different phase, or if it just makes you immune.
That's the cloak.
Yeah, I know what that is.
But like, no, but like the video, they had part of it go over the video. It's just gonna phase you into like this parallel world.
Okay, so it does put you in a different phase.
Presumably, I think,
okay.
Yeah.
I assume it's probably just like a couple second immune, and then you just walk through the beam. It might be a blink, it might not.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's probably how it'll work. Let's read a little bit more.
It's like the intro fight to the cloak, right? So it's
yeah,
like
it's like teaching you how to use it and shit.
it's just gonna show you that like here's a mechanic that kills you unless you press this cloak. And it's like there you go. Walk through.
Rains down lightning, blah blah blah. Dodge circles, the usual. Alright, so there's stages. Fires arcane energy into players, just a dot. Upon expiration, a displacement matrix is created. Is this going to be Queen Anseric portals? When activated, the matrix stuns and inflicts damage to all players and leaves behind residue. Additionally, the activating player will be teleported to a location. I fucking knew it. It's Zymox. Okay. Except these are like bad and you don't want to use them. To a random nearby location sounds hilarious and annoying though. Okay, so dot, when it goes off, leaves puddle and stuns players inside. Targeted player gets ported randomly. Hilarious. Fuck your parse. Yeah, it just does damage and slows people. Okay. Maybe we have to pull ads into those. That's a tank move. Marks our current target, exterminated, blah blah blah, 14 million arcane damage, reduced based on, okay, so tank bomb that has to be run out. Usual, okay. It also leaves behind puddle. Okay. And yeah, tank swap. And puddle. Powered automaton. Chassis periodically emits charged lightning. Charged lightning. Energy arcs from the sentinel, inflicting damage and arcing between up to 5 players within 10 yards. So chain lightning within 10 yards. I don't really think you can spread far enough to not have that hit people. Maybe ranged can. Okay. Eradicating salvo. Targets a player to be purged, firing 2 missiles, each inflicting 25 million damage split between all players hit and knocking players away from the target. So, what mechanic is this like?
The Dispel on Sarkarath, kind of.
I didn't play Sarkarath, that's why I don't know that well. I'm thinking all the way back to freaking Jailer tier, the sausage line. Maybe half the raid soaks. Maybe half raid soaks first, half raid soaks second. Okay, makes sense. Always check invis and immunes on shit like that. It doesn't say it puts a debuff on anybody. Okay. Stage 2. Is this going to be a damage amp like Vexy? Relocates and activates the sieve, teleporting all players away and creating a multitude of traps throughout the arena. Okay, so you run. The sieve scans the area, atomizing all foreign materia. While channeling, Sentinel gains a shield absorbing damage. Breaking the shield interrupts the purge protocol. So you have to break the shield while dodging traps and the sieve, but you kind of just use your cloak. Is there a cooldown on the cloak?
I'm unsure, but it said atomize, right? And you're definitely supposed to use the cloak against atomize.
Well, you're supposed to use the cloak, but I'm wondering, like, okay, it says the room is full of traps, but do you actually have to fucking move? Are you a range player and can just stand still and blast, and when the civ comes near you, you press your cloak? Or does the cloak have like a minute CD, so you have to like, you can only press it once during this phase or something? That's what I'm thinking. I just don't know.
Question.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of sounds like it's almost like a maze. I don't want to call it like a maze,
it
but
sounds
it
like a
almost sounds
maze.
like
Yep.
he teleports to the other side of the room. There's some kind of obstacle. You just have to use the cloak to get through said obstacle.
Yep.
Then you burst down shield and continue.
Yep, I agree. That is exactly what it sounds like. Energy cutter creates energy cutter beams. Okay, so there's also other beams that inflict damage and a dot. Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't kill you, but it'll hurt. Inflicting damage to players. Each cast empowers the sentinel, increasing damage done. Okay, so yeah, just heal 5 head. Into measures, create expulsion zones. Running into them inflicts 75. Okay, they're missing some zeros. And knocks back players into... maybe not. Maybe it's just for the knockback. That'd be hilarious. Okay. So it's probably going to create beams like Nimue, Naimu, from Amir Drasil. Like move and potentially grow or shrink. You're just going to be taking constant AoE damage for healers, and there will be bombs. Okay, that's a really simple fight. Okay, so what do you actually have to do on this fight? Let's actually think about that. You just run out if you get a dot. To put the puddle not in a place where like it'd fuck you during P2, I guess. The tank runs out with the tank slam, and that is all of P1. Oh, you have the beam soak. So there's two mechanics.
There's like a big soak. Yeah.
There's 2 mechanics DPS players have to deal with. And then P2 you just...
also the split soak, like, it knocks people away, so you have to make sure you're not knocking people into shit.
Yeah, I mean, even if you knock people into shit, like, it doesn't even do that much damage. It's every 2 seconds, like, you're gonna take 1 tick of it even if you get knocked into it.
You're hard vibing.
Yeah, that's like... That seems very simple. Okay, so...
That's the first boss.
I know, but
get
like...
away with a little bit of simple.
Even Vexy was like a little bit more than that. Like, there was ads that spawned, you had to soak, you had to dunk, you had to clear oil, you had to drop oil. There was more than that.
She's pretty straightforward, though. Not a lot of mystery. I'm not sure. Oh, God, every boss is purple. Look at that. God bless.
As long as they don't do purple and purple, we're chilling.
Alright, well...
We fully understand that they're doing purple bosses and purple rooms, purple swirlies, and purple...
They will always do purple on purple.
It'll be like pink on purple, so only Sal is fucked.
Alright, so... This fight is incredibly simple. B2, dodge shit, break shield. Okay, easy. And there's nothing else. That's heroic. Let's see what's the mythic change. Let's call it a blink. Mythic changes. Eradicating salvos. Is this in P1? Yeah, this is P1. Targets a player firing 2 missiles, somehow doing less damage. I assume that's just the numbers wrong. Knocking players away. If eradicating salvo fails to hit 5 players, it inflicts 11 million damage to all players. Okay, so it just requires at least 5.
You can't cheese it.
You can't cheese it.
Easy enough.
Which was my question on the soak is, can you invisit or
you probably can.
Yeah.
You probably can on heroic, yeah.
I mean, if you're targeted
Sounds
by
like
it, you just like hunter run out, mage run out, ice block, GG. Okay. And there's another trap, I assume. Ah, there's an ad. Okay. Wait, maybe? Models? Yeah, that kind of looks like an ad. I don't know if you actually have to kill it or not, but... erupts in arcane damage, doing 14 million damage to all players. Yeah, you have to kill it before it casts this twice. Okay. Add in P2, you have to
like a
kill
DPS check
before it finishes cast twice. You could probably live once. Okay, that was easy. Next. Open all these, go heroic. Okay, what's up? Lumathar. Hate that name. Careful genetic modification has engendered in this beast an exquisitely rare sensitivity to magical energies. With this bred for the ability to infuse arcane energy into its silk weaving, it creates living silk. Okay. Arcane overflow. Damage. Healed. Okay. Layer weaving? Am I saying that right?
Layer weaving.
Layer weaving, yeah.
Yeah.
Like its layer.
Its lair, yeah, it's weaving webs around its lair. So is this a spider? Sure is, bud.
Yep,
Hell
sure
yeah.
is.
Fucking nailed that.
It looks more like a mouse in the picture. Interesting.
A big fatty spider. It's got that dunk.
It's a silkworm.
It's a mouse picture. It's a mouse spider.
I thought it kind of looked like a rabbit.
All right.
Yeah, you're probably right. Rabbit spider.
Okay. All right. Luthor weaves a collapsing ring. The ring inflicts 8 million damage to players that pass through it and roots them for 8 seconds. That doesn't kill you.
So there's got to be a way to jump over it, yeah?
So this is like Zymox ring. It doesn't kill you on heroic. Does large dam and roots you. Use Tangles spawn with a woven ward. The Tangles weave warding runes into themselves, preventing all damage taken until struck by piercing shard. Okay, so
Piercing strand.
wait,
Something.
you can
so you
kill
use that.
you can kill the Tangles. You can actually DPS them down.
Yeah,
Okay.
except on heroic and mythic, where there's like something you have to hit first.
I assume Frost Boots angle. You gotta shoot something that's targeted into the shit.
Yeah, I imagine the boss probably randomly targets a player or something. We'll read it in a second, I assume. Probably just simply aim at
Yeah. Yeah,
health
for
bar.
sure. For sure.
Get thing, walk to thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is exactly what it's going to be. Almost always. Mugsy Frost Boots is going to be the perfect example of that. Primal Spellstorm. Damage raised on players. Dodge circles. Cool. Over Infusion Burst. What a name. Clicks. That's not a lot of damage to all players every 1 second for 8 seconds. That's still not a lot. As it absorbs arcane energy, then it releases the energy in a massive explosion to be 20 million. That's a lot. Players within 40 yards. Alright, so there's some way to stop that from happening. Infusion Tether pulls several players to itself with arcane strands, doing damage, grows in strength every second. The strand snaps when drawn to 40 yards, so you have to run away 40 yards away from the boss, creating a splotch of living silk. So creates a thing. Infusion Tether inflicts arcane damage to the target when it ends. Okay, so several players get pulled towards boss. To move. Whoa! Okay, full screen.
What did you do?
I don't know, I can't get out of it. Help.
F11?
Help.
What did
Thank you.
do?
I have no idea what I did.
Did F11 work?
It did. That was wild. Alright, we're back. Players have to. And broken leaves puddle. Question, if you are 40 yards away when chosen, does it auto break? Another question. Is it baitable? Range versus melee versus healers. Farthest / closest players. Immutable / freedom / tiger's lust / blink and root breaks on Azrek. Okay. Living silk and their victims into arcane conduits. Inflicting 2 million nature damage every second, increasing arc damage taken by 100%, reducing. Piercing Strand is the tank mechanic that breaks the shield. Launches a heavily infused strand through their current target at high speed, inflicting 20 million damage to all players in the line, increasing damage to. Okay, so tank targeted mechanic is used to break shield on Tangle Ring. Okay. Instead of melee attacks, he blasts his target with Sylph. Alright, get fucked, thanks. Hope you have magic production. And then there's an intermission. Intermission at 50% HP. Okay. Tells all players.
So it is a rabbit.
Tells all players it tears itself in two, freeing itself from its abdomen to take the fight to the players below. Directionally. Sprocket? We'll find out. And also they changed how the Sprocket knocked work from testing to live, which was hilarious. Shockwave of him landing deals damage and knocks back all players. For the remainder of the fight, he may move freely and takes 25% increased damage, while Arcane Acre pours endlessly from the severed half of the bow.
Wonder if that's like you have to kite it in a circle as it constantly drops shit on its underneath it or something.
Yeah, that sounds like it. So maybe boss is not movable in P1. Because it sounds like he then is movable in P2.
Sounds like the Senarth repeat.
Yeah,
Sounds
exactly.
like,
Literally exactly.
Sub 50% DPS check.
Boss is now movable. DPS check. Ooze
Like
raining from ceiling. Boss and players can't stand in it. So, area denial. That specifically says it's like during intermission. Does this just happen for a specific amount of time? Because then it says there's a P2. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Damage, that's the same thing as before. Dodge circle, same thing as before. New. Unleashes Arcane Ichor and Pure Arcane Energy with a shriek, repelling and inflicting 1 million damage to all players each second for 3 seconds. So, AoE Blast that repels? Question mark?
Sounds like maybe don't get knocked into a circle, you'll die.
For 3 seconds, so knockback. Don't get knocked into puddles. Sounds right.
Withering Wave, what is that?
Dodge circles from P1. What was the sends forth a wave of silk in a cone towards their current target, inflicting massive damage to the tank. And a long dot. Damage from both effects are split between all players hit. So, frontal tank cone on active tank, split damage between all players. This is just what's his name? Gallywix P3, P2 plus P3 frontals. Plus dot after. The same thing. Literally the same thing. And dot afterwards causes you to take increased dam from next frontal. You just split the raid in however many groups you need to handle that. Okay.
Well, I imagine if it sounds like it's targeted on the tank, so it's probably just 2 groups.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, you split Gallywix into 2 groups, but with only 6 people, you could have 3 groups or 4 groups of 5. However many.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not going to target a tank while they still have the debuff, right? If it's only targeted on tanks, that means it can only alternate between 2 people.
Essentially.
Like
Or it could just target the
tank
tanks,
one,
and the tanks take increasing damage every time. You don't know.
That's gross. That'd be disgusting.
That'd actually be fun, though, because then you have to, like, manage your cooldowns to use more
that's a
towards the end
straight
of
up
the fight.
DPS check. But kill it before the tank dies.
That sounds fucking awesome, which of course they won't do because it's the second boss of the raid. But, you know.
Yeah, I doubt this is going to be high strategy.
Everybody says that, but, like, the strategy on every boss is important. Fucking Rick took some people, like, 40 pulls this tier, and that was the 3rd boss that you went to. Like, all the bosses are actually important. Just because they're technically easier doesn't mean they're going to be easy with the gear we have at the time, or it won't be important to kill them quickly.
But I'm saying, like, I don't think that they're gonna make it so that, like, if there's like a mass soak mechanic, I don't think they're gonna make it so like it's like we have to worry about like 3 to 4 groups for this.
I would
Usually it's
generally
probably
agree
2.
with you, yes. I do agree with that. Like a spider moth. Its butt's so big I can't see
I
it.
guess it is a moth.
Yeah.
It's a spider moth thingy.
I think it's not real.
Nah, it's definitely real.
It's real to me.
Oh.
Okay. Any other mythic mechanics? There's one in P1 and one in P2. What we got for mythic? Hyper Infusion. Arcane pylons around the room pump arcane energy into whatever they strike first. Huh? Okay. If a player is affected, they will take damage every 1 second for 5 seconds, but they're struck for 25 seconds? This affects stacks, so it's like Rick Reverb pylons soaking. Otherwise, the energy reaches Lumathar and does damage to all players. So
I bet
somebody's
you it's
gotta
just a
soak it.
beam that goes into boss, and you have to alternate who stands in it. This is probably what it is.
Certainly sounds correct. P1 pylon that probably shoots beam at boss and must be soaked. Backing dam while soaking. Yep, sounds right to me. And then the other mythic change is down here. If Writhing Wave fails to... Okay, again, you can't cheese the soak. Okay. Need 5 people in soak. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, the usual questions for the soak.
.4 mil, so 5 people, 1.4 mil damage every second for 25 seconds. With what our health pools are probably going to be, we're probably going to have what, like 1.5 million health as the DPS probably. That doesn't seem too bad. Or I guess 1.5 billion, or whatever the number is. Is it 1 million? I don't know. Whatever the number is, 1.5 something.
Test. Am I back? Alright, I'm back.
Yes.
I freaking hate this. My mic keeps doing dumb shit. I'm gonna have to buy a new one before raid next year. What were you saying, Arthas? Something about health pools in the soak?
Dot. So it's like the dot 7.7 million each second over 25. If 5 people want to soak, it's like 1.4 million or something like that per second, which doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's a long time though. It's a very long dot.
Yeah, it's basically like kill boss before you can't heal anymore, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, before you run out of healing CDs. Because you're also just taking constant AoE damage while you're in this phase too.
Constant AoE, the dot, and you're getting knocked back and shit, and you gotta dodge stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the knockback is 1 second longer on Mythic too. Oh, fun. You have to spread out
It's
at
like
the end
reverse,
of it.
it's like reverse Senarth basically. Senarth pulls you, this one knocks you for the duration.
Okay, sounds good. Soulbinder. Anybody have any other questions or thoughts or things to test on the previous 2 bosses?
What was it about the wording that made you think they were killable ads on the Tangle thingies?
Because it does a cast that will basically kill you if it happens twice, maybe even once. No, so maybe the ads aren't killable and you just have to break the shield before the cast finishes. I'm not sure. Good question.
It says a ring. Maybe it's like one of those things where you have to break the shield and kill one ad to run through it, kind of deal. Like that Sylvanas fight in that, I think it was a Wrath dungeon. Or
Aranog.
Burial Grounds, Shadow
Vault.
Burial Grounds, last boss.
Maybe.
Yeah, Aranog is like probably the
Yeah.
real example here.
Or
raid-wise.
Aranog, yeah, that one too. They're all
You know, the
kill
actual
ad,
raid
pass
boss
through
that
wall.
did that exact thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Anything else on the first two before we move on?
I don't know. I wasn't here for the first one, so.
It's pretty freaking simple. There's literally like 2 mechanics that DPS players have to do.
Don't stand in bad.
Yep. Dodge circles. Every fight has dodge circles, just assume. Okay.
Dodge circle angle.
Boxing the souls of Ethereals, twisting another to Soulbinder, binds them to leave silk. She also children, so this is your first boss plus ads fight. Okay. Bound Assassin, the Unbound Soul begins wrapping process upon entering the arena and become ethereal after they finish this process. You have to kill them before that? Doesn't say what ethereal is. Okay.
Maybe that's tied to the cloak. Maybe you have to pop the cloak to hit them.
Maybe. Also, this should be An, not A. There they. Unbound Assassin. Good. Is this just like all of the ads are under this? No, just the Shadow Guard Assassin. Okay. Unbound Soul coils its fading form in arcane living silk. Desperate to hasten its rebirth as an ethereal, they said it right. Each pulse of power is not its own, but whatever. Okay, lore. The Shadow Guard Assassin targets a random player, vanishing into the shadows, then reappears behind them and delivers a devastating strike, infuses shadow energy, inflicting 2 million damage. It's not devastating. And that dot for 50 seconds. Holy shit. Becomes Shadow Guard Assassin after time. Shadow Guard Assassin works to people and smacks them. Yeah, I don't really understand that one. Okay. Unbound Mage. Same thing. So this is just the spawning process of the ads, I guess. I don't know if we can actually do anything while they're unbound. Okay, so unbound. Shadow Guard Mage just does AoE volley to every player.
You know, it would be cool. A cool
Target.
thought.
Huh.
Maybe you can kill them and they all spawn, and you choose which ones spawn by killing the other ones, because you can only kill a certain amount.
Well, it says the wrapping. He begins the wrapping process and becomes an ethereal after they finish this process. So I don't think
So maybe
killing them is how that works.
Maybe like 3 of them spawn or whatever, and you choose which ads you have to deal with by killing one of the ones you don't want to deal with.
I mean that,
the cast
yeah,
gets off or something.
maybe, yeah. Shadow Guard Mage
Like bandit coins.
targets one player and casts on them. Interruptible. Okay. Phase Blade.
Like Lahuvian.
Sears the target for damage. The power of void that scatters after impact jumps between all players. Okay, so basically it's all players for damn. So maybe multiple ads spawn and you kill ones you don't want to deal with.
Like Lahuvian style, basically.
Maybe. Essence Implosion. The binding machine explodes in a wave of pure arcane force. This is just damage. Okay. Targets random players, unleashing a silk-bound orb pulsing with arcane force, inflicting 8 million damage to any player struck by the orb. That sounds fun. The orb tears through everything in its path, including binding machines. Any unbound soul caught outside its protective ward is overwhelmed, taking 15% increased damage for 20 seconds. So
you want to aim that at the ads.
that player and kills everything in path makes ads take 15% increased damage for 20 seconds. Hit target at ads. Does this follow player? Will just go in line from fire position. Find out very quickly.
Did it say what the binding machine was?
No, not yet. It doesn't say anywhere. I think it just means like unbound souls. I don't know. Tank hit, not a lot of damage, low brands the victim, and fighting all incoming Mystic Glass damage, they take by 18%. Yeah.
That's just the tank swap,
Tank
probably.
swap. Yep. Unleashes a shockwave, knocking all players back with explosive force, inflicting damage and additional damage every 1 second for 12 seconds. So knockback plus 12-second dot. Yep. Targets random players, sending violent arcane shocks coursing through their souls. Dot. Permanent escalates. Increasing dam. Dot. Full fire. This would be like sticks. Stable soul rend orb are violently expelled from the host's body. Any player struck by one suffers damage and adopt for 15 seconds and slowed. Okay. Orb shoot out from player. Think of Nexus Princess. Yep. Sense Death Spindle. Inhaled fragments of silk combined to form blockages in each player's throat, going every breath and placing damage to all players. So, okay. So basically, you just kill ads. There's no interrupts, which is strange.
Maybe on Mythic.
Maybe. He spawns 3 ads. The caster just targets one player and blasts them. This guy targets one player, but then hits all players for that same damage.
What is Essence Implosion? Go down. Talks about the binding machine.
It's
Binding
just
machine
the heal.
explodes in a wave.
You just heal. Do this, but I don't know what the binding machine is. I don't know.
Maybe yeah, maybe that is like the ad spawning mechanism.
Yeah, I think that's it.
You know, wrapping. You know what I mean?
So if that's the ad spawning mechanism, you can hit that with this. So maybe binding machines what spawn ads, and you can destroy with soul prey mission orb. Okay, so overall mechanics are add spawn, kill them, player targeted by annihilation, make sure orb will travel through ads / binding machines. Play defensive.
Spread if targeted for circle or whatever.
Spread for targeted for what circle?
The thingy where it looks like you shoot orbs out from yourself.
Oh, you just have to get away from everyone, yeah.
Stuff,
Not necessarily spread. I think this would be very similar to Nexus Princess, where you want most people stacked in mid, and then the people who get that to get out.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe it shoots in like cardinal or anti-cardinal directions.
It would be interesting if it was Loom style and you had to shoot the thing at an ad to make it take increased damage to kill it in time. If it's like that.
Yeah, on first pass when we're still low tuned. Okay. For knockback / get out with dot that shoots orbs. I think that's it. Kill ads. If you're targeted by annihilation, make sure the orb will travel through shit, plan your defensives, and get out with the dot that shoots orbs. Basically it.
Or the other thought I had too, instead of like Lahulum style, where you're kind of choosing what doesn't spawn by killing it, you're choosing what doesn't spawn by destroying the binding machine, so it's just like a regular trivial add, and then the other ones transform.
Maybe.
It's like you're interrupting the cast with the orb that destroys the binding machine.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see. It kind of gives off like Ovanax vibes of like choosing which ads, if that is really how it works. But I have no idea. Because it may just be all the ads spawn, you just shoot the orb through them to deal damage to them. Yeah. Okay, let's check Mythic. The Assassin's ability change. Targets a random player, vanishing into the shadows. Devastating strike. That still doesn't do that much damage. And additional damage every 2 seconds for 1 minute to all players within the impact area. That is different. Inflicting 2 million shadow damage, so this one just did damage to the targeted player. Also, its dot was way worse because it's every 1 second for 50 seconds, so the dot on heroic is actually worse. Every 2 seconds for a minute to all players within the impact area, so the assassin hit is now spread AoE. Assassin hit is now spread to all targets within impact area. I assume all of them are gonna have something. It doesn't even say this thing was interruptible. But this says it's interruptible? Is it interruptible by the orb mechanic? Yes, there is these same ads. I literally put non-interruptible spell because usually there's an interruptible sign right next to the mechanic. So maybe interruptible with the annihilation orb? I don't know, we'll find out. Mage cast gets 50% faster on each interrupt. Sure. He's still just blasting one player. This guy got a new move. Every 5 seconds, the phase blade gains more power, doing 10% increased damage. Okay. So, phase blade increases damage done by 10% every 5 seconds. Okay. Silk Shield. This guy's got a lot of mythic changes. Okay. Soulbinder weaves strands of enchanting living silk around her soulbinding machines, forming a resilient barrier that absorbs incoming damage. While active, the machines continue their binding work, siphoning bound souls and reshaping them. Okay, so it does sound like there's machines that you DPS down or break down. So, there you go. Machines, spawn ads. Build them. Machines. So on Mythic, the machines get shielded. So can't be stopped from spawning ads. What? I feel like there's been a relatively recent fight that's had ad spawns that are like continual until you do something. I can't remember what it is though.
I feel like Kale Foss, but that's
kind of, yeah. Okay, Arcane Expulsion. Unleashes devastating shockwave, knocking all players back with force. What's different? When players crash to the ground, strands of arcane silk are shaken loose, forming lingering zones. Okay. Knockback now leaves puddle where you land. And Convenient. Okay, so dot that shoots orbs. The orbs can break shields on binding machines. So is that the only way to break them? Maybe. This is actually very similar to Rick as well. It doesn't have the pylon soaking, but it has like pylons that you have to break the shield on in order to interact with them or do something. Okay. Anyone got any questions or thoughts on this one?
Really?
That certainly sounds like
Be fun ad fight.
yeah. You have machines somewhere that spawn ads. And that's most of the shit. You can... Yeah. Alright. Forge Weaver it is. Hold on, let me check boss model. Oh yeah, it's just Nexus Princess. Okay. Oh, he's a Void Weaver. Hence the name Forge Weaver.
There is a Nexus King, penultimate boss.
Oh, it doesn't show his ads. Guy's got orbs, Spooky Boy, pylons, and other Void Weavers. Oh yeah.
So much shit, holy.
Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Mechanic
Let's
soup,
go.
here we come.
Bro, Muggsy and Gallywix from like this tier were the freaking worst to go over. There was so many mechanics. Took like an hour just to do both of them just because there were so many things to click and open and talk about. And most of them were like pointless, it didn't matter. Oh my god, let's go. Oh, the ad
Jesus
spawns an
Christ.
ad, hell yeah.
Holy shit, dude. This
Let's
thing's so long.
get it.
Look how small that scroll bar is. Holy shit.
This is,
But he's got 2 intermissions and he's a 4th boss. What are we doing?
this is probably the last one we'll do for tonight. That's alright, hell yeah. Because it's only the first 3 that are on the first testing day next week, which is Thursday, and then probably that Thursday I'll finish the other ones for the testing the next day. But we'll do this one now anyway. Okay, this is a bunch of shit. Using sigils and techno spells, fucking dubstep. Controls the flow of energy from the forge, feeding the Void Lord to bring him into our plane. A follower of the All Devouring, he tries to see his work through. Okay. Yep. Tank hit, arcane obliteration. I feel like that's just the exact name copy from somebody else. Infuses his target, 10 million arcane damage to all players, reduced by the number of players within 10 yards of the impact location. Additionally, okay, so targeted player, group soak. Players within 70 yards, they also have healing absorb, plus heal absorb. Think Olgrax soak. Or maybe Rashinan soak targeted at ground up player. Okay. Arcane Echo is summoned at the location. Oh. Huh.
So it's like double, like you soak the soak and then you have to soak another soak. What it sounds like, maybe? Or is that duplicates all casts?
It's a Z clone.
Yeah, it's an exact clone. That means he has like all of the same exact abilities. Doesn't quite look like it.
Well, I guess we'll find out what it is.
Fuck, this is so much scrolling. Okay. So, group soak plus heal absorb plus spawns add. Duplicates the cast of the boss, okay? While the Forge Reaver and his echoes are within 20 yards of each other, their damage done is increased by a fuckload and they take no damage. So, arcane echoes must be 20 plus yards away from boss.
So probably have like a kill squad and then people on boss.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Diurna. But less far. What was Diana Brood Twister? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Keeper.
Brood Keeper, right. Brood Twister is Ovinax.
Keeper Diurna.
Okay, the Echo invokes a Collector to begin its prime sequence, whatever the fuck that means. The caster rains Arcane Blast at player destination every 1 second, 3 seconds, damage players in 3 hours, and pacifying them for 6 seconds. Oh, that's gonna piss people off.
My uptime.
Oh, man. Pacify you for 6 seconds if hit. That's hilarious. Yeah, learn how to dodge melee players. Get wrecked. No excuses now, you can't just defensive through it. As his attack leaves
Probably
the
AMS
player.
it.
You probably
So
could
you can't
AMS
soak
it.
the same thing twice, basically.
Able to diminish the damage of the next. It says leaves the player marked, so is that just the person who
Unable
is
to
targeted?
diminish. Basically, like if you soak it, it's a
The-
mechanic to make you not be able to soak 2 times in a row. Or
Yeah, the
however
main
long.
note says it puts mark on everyone in the soak.
So basically, you have to alternate who's soaking.
Wait,
But
where does it
what's
say?
the same.
Okay. Encephalo Astral
Sure.
Mark. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Which probably means you might be alternating your kill groups, maybe.
Yeah, it'll be a 1 and 2 soak, 3 and 4 kill, and then switch.
It's the same as Oldrax. Caster rains Arcane Blast at player's destination every 1 second. You're gonna see, yeah, so it's the same thing. Dude, that's so funny. That is going to just freaking piss people off so much. Can't believe they put a pacify on that. For 6 seconds too, that's so punishing. They really like knockbacks this raid. I think every boss has had one.
Your DK Supreme.
I just blink 5 head. Okay. Okay, so Invoke Collector was from this. So Arcane Echoes invoke the Collector. Caster invokes one of the clusters to begin harvesting. Collector erects a barrier, reducing their damage by 99%. Starts the prime sequence. The Collector activates, unleashing waves of devastation, inflict 9 million damage to players if they're hit. Okay, so Collector add shield for 99%. Reduced. Damn. Waves that kill if hit.
Right doesn't kill because we have more than.
Damage.
It hurts really fucking bad. So we got more than that amount of health now.
Kills if hit twice. You happy? Astral Harvest. The caster infuses a player with energy, inflicting damage to the player for 4 seconds. Afterwards, an arcane manifestation is summoned. Okay, so puts dot on player that summons. Add seconds. Location.
Moves towards collector, summon, so you probably have to kill it before it reaches.
Surges with manifestor energy, inflicting 7 million damage on impact, followed by blast. Yeah, okay. So add walks towards collector. If they touch, take 50% rate HP. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. You take that, the player with the dot gets far away so that the ad takes a long time to walk in. This is, what's the fucking...
Fate Scribe.
Yes, that one. Fate Scribe.
Except that one was on a tank.
That was on
hopefully
tank.
This one's also on a tank.
No, it's probably
This
not
is
going to
a
be.
DPS target mechanic.
I mean, it's like way...
Visible.
Well, yeah, fuck melee, but it's easy for ranged. Get wrecked. You just have a gate that takes you out. Or a gate that takes you back, whichever way you want to do it. Alright, we are like 40% away through this bar. Hell yeah. invoked by arcane echoes. You probably want to kill the arcane echoes quickly so that they don't start invoking ads all over the place. Alright, intermission. What we got?
Sounds like you're...
Radiates power, AoE damage for the whole time, so...
Sounds like you want to end intermission before the dot gets too
Sacking
strong, or
AoE
maybe it's
dam.
timed.
Yep. Oops. Energy focus through the mana forge inflicts 9 million damage. What? Okay. Huge dam to players within Iris. Okay.
That's just zone denial.
Yeah. This is the same collector, right? Fires energy in the direction of players. Okay, so that's different. Fires, I don't know, stuff at players. Dodge. Energy from collectors feeds the mana forge. When enough energy is fed, the mana forge surges, inflicting damage to players. Why is this a tank alert? You have to keep the collectors away. Feeds boss. Does AoE dam when too much energy is given to boss.
Maybe that is what ends the intermission. Who knows?
I have no idea. Doesn't even say how intermission starts either. Time, I guess.
Time-based.
Resilient attendants able to operate within the volatile environment of the mana forge by repelling arcane energy. They have an absorb shield. And they fuck your tanks up. Okay.
This is an intermission fight for sure.
Okay. Armor cracks, stunning him and splintering his form, increasing all damage taken by 100% for 12 seconds. Is that like what happens at the start of intermission? So intermission happens and
Maybe
you just like blast boss?
Break the shield.
Well, the boss doesn't have a shield. The ads...
thingy does.
This ad has a shield, and it's just fucking up your tanks. This ad is just shooting beams that you have to dodge. So it kind of sounds like Muggsy intermission. Like he goes into intermission, you have to dodge shit, and you're blasting him for 12 seconds because he's taking increased damage. And you have to kill the ads. And then there's another intermission. Okay, intermission 2. Dodge circles. Since you just never get this dot if you just dodge. Okay, area denial again. Denial? There you go. Another collector ad. Action 1.
This one's not a tank alert, right? Scroll back up. This one just has the question, the exclamation point.
Yeah, I think they just messed that up for the other one. I think they were both supposed to be exclamations. Same damage amp. So maybe he does like one intermission first and then goes back to P1 and then does a second intermission. Like why are they different? The only difference in intermission 2 is dodge circles. I don't know. That sounds weird. And then it has a stage 2. 4th boss, guys. This is Styx. Alright. Singularity erupts within the forge, inflicting 415,000 damage. Every 1 second, players and pulling them into its crushing darkness. Over time, the strength of this movement force increases. So, Void Zones suck. That does AoE. Next Princess. Suck increases over time. Yeah, so you die. Singularity infuses the player with Void. Taking 2.6 million shadow damage for 1 second for 4 seconds. Afterward, avoid my station is summoning the player's destination. So
definitely want to move speed to be able to stay in the soak circle at some point. If it's later in the phase.
Player. In what circle?
Like you got a suck going on, but then you also have to do the add soak circle, right?
Doesn't say that yet. So far, we just have the suck going on.
Oh, maybe it's a different ad.
And this one puts a dot on you that spawns an ad. And the ad walks towards the singularity and kills everyone if it touches it.
The soak was a P1 boss ability.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. That's the same type of ad as P1. Just walks. Okay, tank hits and pacify circles. Okay. So is P2 like a DPS race before the singularity kills you? Is that like constant? No idea. Okay. That's not a lot of stuff, but how much actually matters to the average DPS player?
Maybe it's like kill it before the suck pulls you into whatever it is that's going to kill you. It's 11.4 million every 1 second to players beyond the event horizon. So, or like kill boss before suck gets too strong.
Okay, so there's a group soak that spawns ads, and you can't soak twice. Okay. I don't really know what we're supposed to do with this collector, because it has a shield for 99% reduced damage, and it doesn't say anything breaks that shield. So I'm just gonna ignore that for now and just assume we have to kill the ads. Okay, that's basically all of P1. You just dodge shit and you do the group soak, but the only actual mechanic is like the group soak, and then there's the dot that spawns ad. You have dot, drop ad far away from collector ad. Maybe don't run it far and just CC the walking ad. So rude stuns, whatever, you can keep it right next to the other guy, just below him at the same time. Maybe that's possible. Okay, intermission 1 is just ads. Dodge stuff. Boss damage amp. I2. Same as I1 plus dodge circles. E2 is potentially constant void zone suck, increasing in suck speed, and still dot that spawns ad, drop ad away from void zone. So that's kind of all it looks like we're dealing with. Is basically just, if you think of like the actual mechanics that DPS players are gonna have to deal with, if you're talking about a group soak, you put it in a certain spot, people get in the group soak, it spawns ads. Probably half the raid is killing the boss, half the raid is killing the ads or something like that until the ads are dead. And if you get a dot on you, you just move that dot away from the collector ad. Probably be optimizations on that. But that's basically all you do, is just pretty much those two things. Group soak or dot run it away, and you're dodging shit the whole time. Intermission 1, you're dodging shit, you're killing the boss and the ads, potentially. Intermission 2 is the same thing, plus more shit to dodge. And P2 is actually kind of less stuff to do. You just run away from the void zone. And you still have the dot that drops the ads. That's kind of simple, although this is the longest encounter journal so far. Still only a couple mechanics to deal with. Any questions or thoughts that we haven't covered here? Things to test, anything? I'm trying to come up with stuff.
Would the journal say if that ad is CC immune?
So I'm looking at the Wowhead website for the encounter journal, and it does say something about if an ad hang on, let me find it. If an ad reaches its target, it becomes CC immune and gains like 99% move speed or some shit like that.
Ad reaches what target? The ad just walks to the other ad and blows up if it hits them.
Yeah, let me find it again. I just read it.
Also, warning, Wowhead is often wrong with encounter journals, which is why I read these encounter journals myself, because Wowhead will assume things that aren't true, and then just post it to their website. FYI.
It has this arcane manifestation that's summoned by the arcane collector. It has an ability called Power Manifested. Manifestations that connect with the Forge Reaver become empowered, granting them immunity to crowd control, increase movement speed by 99%.
That on Mythic? That's on Mythic only. That's a Mythic mechanic. At least, according to the encounter journal, this mechanic is not here on Heroic.
This doesn't specify if it's Heroic and Mythic on this thing.
Although it does not have a Mythic icon in the journal, so it's hard to tell whether they just forgot to put it in the Heroic one or if it's actually a Mythic mechanic. But why does this even... So
it moves towards the collector, but can't
if it hits the boss,
in contact
yeah.
with the boss.
So Thought Walker ad can't come in contact with boss. So that should tell you exactly what the ideal thing would be, is to drop the ad on top of the boss on Heroic, and then you can just cleave it under boss. Drop ad under boss. Cleave. Okay. Thanks for the tip, Mythic version. Yeah, so it has like the Mythic icon here, which the difference is in this ad's ability. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So like on Mythic you can't drop the ad onto the boss, but on Heroic you can. Okay, speaking of Mythic, let me scroll for 7 years, find any other Mythic changes. The Arcane Collector. Containment Breach. The destroyed collector causes a breach, inflicting 10 million damage what?
The destroyed collectors is banned.
So you have to
it
just...
might be if the ad gets there, it destroys it, and then you die.
I don't know. Well, I guess, yeah, because the collector has a shield, so you can't, like, kill it. At least it didn't appear to have a way to kill the collector ad. Oh, that's an intermission, though. I was thinking a collector ad from P1 has a shield. So maybe you can't kill the collector in intermission anymore? Okay. Interesting. Fucking scrolling. I assume this is the same thing. Yep. Oh god. They just keep going, eh? Okay. P2. The singularity infuses a player with void, drops the ad, moves toward the thing. Okay, so the ad does the same thing. So same in P2. Nothing different there. And Death Throes. The Forge Weaver erupts as their form is torn apart, inflicting 5 million damage to players and knocking them back. Gains knockback. Maybe Enrage? Death Throes kind of sounds like an Enrage thing. Maybe it's like continuous.
It might be a cast that you use to, like, it sucks you into the middle. You
To
put the boss
get
between
knocked
you and the
away.
thing.
Yeah,
You get knocked away.
that's a good idea. I wonder what this arena looks like. Can you get knocked off the edge? Probably. Is generally a favorite of them. Okay. Alright, that could make sense. Any other questions or thoughts on this one? It seems kind of simple to me, but it's potentially gonna like overrun you with like, we don't know how many people get dots, therefore how many dot ads spawn. We don't know exactly how many arcane echoes spawn from the group soak. Okay. Fun. Alright. It's void shit. I love void shit. That's all that matters. This guy, though. I need him as a mount. Speaking of which. Sorry, boys. I'm yoinking this mount first. I'm not being last this time. That one's mine. Okay. Well, I don't have anything else for the first 4, so I think we are done for now. Do they have anything in the encounter journal for last boss? They do. Mythic and heroic. Okay. They're not doing the Gallywix version this time. Oh boy, that's so much stuff. Alright, we can go with that one.
Literally has an ability called Massive Smash. That goes hard.
Yeah, man. Alright, well that is all that we have for today. First 4 bosses covered. That'll get us through testing next week. Are any of you guys actually going to be at the testing next week? I'm not.
I'll be there.
Who said that? Loop?
Loop.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna work from home those days.
I'm going to do that for the mythic testing, but generally not gonna do it. Okay, so they did get their tanks. Okay, they got Toth. Good. Toth is a good tank. Looking at the sign-up sheet now. Warpath hasn't had anybody sign up yet. Interesting. Except for one person.
Raids kind of look like an unholy tier so far from what I've seen.
Bro, it looks like a DK is gonna be benched here, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such thing.
I don't know, man. We're gonna hopefully, actually, I don't even know, man, because, like, so far I haven't seen anything that's like, grip is gonna be good, you know what I mean?
Grip is gonna be good. They
But I
explicitly said in the announcements that we would notice the grip is gonna be good.
That's what they always say, but we shall see.
I mean, yeah, but you get
Unchanged,
fights where
that
it's
just
like,
means that Blood Grip is gonna be good though.
Yeah, blood grip
Yeah,
is gonna be good.
blood grip
Yeah, DPS DK
yeah,
grip can get the hell out of there.
here's the problem that always happens is the type of fight that grip is good on is like a spread clear fight, right? Where the ads spawn spread apart and you need to get them in one clump.
What up, Call Chain?
It also
It's been a
happens
while.
to be the type of fight that
I was on
DK
vacation. I had
has
shit
a
happen,
horrendous
it was
damage
crazy.
profile for. So DPS DKs has never brought in those fights.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, DPS DK got screwed by the save bomb change because now they just don't have mass grip and have a worse single grip. Like,
Yeah, so bench DPS
no, I think they
DKs.
gave
This is
it-
easy.
2 Unholy, hang on.
This is an easy
they gave
thing, guys.
Unholy Scorpion's Grasp. Why,
Hang on.
why would they
It-
just
I
Given
need to
the
see if it
fucking-
actually grips or not, but I know
You
it's
gave
like
him
the
the
Brother,
weird
I was
generator.
on vacation, and then
version.
while I was on vacation, my
Hang
dog
on,
almost
I'm seeing
died
it.
and had to get like
Look it up
emergency
real quick.
surgery while I was gone, and then I came back and had to like watch my dog for like 2 weeks.
Talent.
I haven't done
Legion
anything
of
on this
Souls.
game in like
1.5
3.5
minute
weeks.
cooldown.
We will play together, I promise. But not right now.
It does not grip anything, no. So it's basically. They said they renamed it, but they're basically trying to give you an idea of how it's gonna behave. But yeah, it's basically our army choice node. It just does AOD damage and puts
I
wounds on shit and
promise-
gives us like D&D, so it doesn't actually grip anything in.
All right, you know what? We can play tomorrow. We can play tomorrow.
But it's like our AOE
Do some
cooldown
keys.
basically
Gotta
now.
do some shit. They are way louder than me on stream. Fuck them. Turned down. Thank you. Nobody wants to hear them talk.
Spot where it looks real bad in this trade based on how much magic damage I'm seeing, plus
No.
spell block being taken away.
Fucking buy it. What's the magic damage tank? DK?
Blood DK is pretty good. Guardian's better than it used to be. Paladin's good against single magic damage hits. Blood's the best.
Sounds like it's a double blood tier and Arthas is benched forever. Let's go.
They better not do this, man. They
Sounds
said
like it,
they're gonna
bud.
make grip good, and then they're gonna fucking make a tier where DK is shit.
All right,
It's
Call
a
Chain.
blood
We will
grip.
find a way to coordinate. I promise.
I mean, we always have this problem, right, where the encounter designers don't talk to the class designers and vice versa. It's like they make these sweeping changes, and then the encounters just suck for the fucking changes they made.
That is not always true. They just don't care about DK because they designed Razageth around having evokers. So that obviously happens, but no one cares about DK, so that doesn't happen anymore. You guys are old news.
It's horseshit. They're like,
Second boss is
"Yeah,
definitely a
DK has
Pokemon, dude.
raid buff, you should
Look at this
wanna
fucking
bring
thing.
it." It's like, yeah,
Its
but
butt
we
is
should
so
have
big,
never
it's off
brought,
the
'cause
screen.
It's never good on the fights you're designing it to be used on.
That's because what it is called is not a frickin' raid buff. They just keep saying
Yeah,
that it is, but it's
literally
definitely
like-
not.
DK has a problem where it's just, is it tuned good? You bring DK. Is it not tuned good? You don't bring DK. Like, all it does is damage.
Oh boy, it's time to look at trinkets. Second boss has a probably shit crit trinket. Okay.
Not everybody.
Yep.
A bunch of like cosmic trinkets. There's like a coral Spyweaver type trinket later on, I think.
There's I don't know if it was all prime stats, but there's like a melee, I think. Spy Masters, stacking whatever the fuck. she
A
did.
melee spy.
I mean, it said
Solid.
primary stat. It does cosmic damage, and you like consume stacks or whatever to gain primary stat or something like that.
This one seems potentially interesting on tuning. Does damage to targets, but increased by your mastery and increased by targets hit up to 5 targets. Could be good depending on tuning.
I saw a strength or crit trinket earlier on, but I think it was strength agility.
Oh, JK, this trinket's gonna be BIS. Granting you 40,000 intellect at the cost of health. No one gives a shit about health.
Yeah.
GG.
King over
Like
30
15%
seconds.
is like genuinely nothing. and
That
it's-
That's 2
does
minutes,
not
though.
matter.
Arcane's cadence.
You just don't play Arcane. You play
That's a
Fire.
Fire trinket then.
Yeah. Although, yeah, I mean, it would be bad for Arcane anyway because you wouldn't want it to decay over time. That kind of sucks for Arcane. Like,
So
Balefire
it's 30
Branch.
Seconds, right?
Balefire
That
Branch
seems
was
like a really
decaying, right?
good, what's intellect though? Never mind.
Yeah, but like decaying over 30 seconds, Arcane's burst happens what, like 15 seconds after the start of CDs, so you would have lost like, I don't know, 50%, whatever the decay amount is, halfway through. Not great.
Oh, that's
However,
primary stat. That would be a good breath trinket.
what is the actual amount of intellect on that compared to Spy Masters?
Wasn't Spy Masters like 40,000?
Yeah, the full stack Spy Master is 40.
So it's so Spy Masters is just better than this then? Okay.
True.
How long is the buff on Spy Masters?
Hold on, what's the math there? 74 times 40. I'm pretty sure it's okay. So it's still Spy Masters is less. Okay,
That's post nerf Spy Masters though.
it is.
Right?
post like multi-nerf Spy Masters.
Yeah.
Spy Masters was definitely better in its prime,
What's
but
the
used to be, like,
duration on
fucking
Spy Masters
50.
though?
Spy Masters buff is 20 seconds long.
This one's 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
Okay, bud. What is this trying to tell me? Oh my god, it's got a transmitter icon.
It's a transmitter, but it's beacon. It's weird.
Oh, an Oathbound Shadow Guard squad to annihilate. Please let me use a trinket that summons a squad. Please. I just want to do that. That sounds great.
Look what we need to mimic a fraction of Roker's power.
Why does it always have damage split between enemies? Like, what the fuck?
If I'm like trying to focus and I see fucking 8 of this dude's goons coming
Brother.
laser beam shit, I'm gonna blow up.
Fucking
There's already too many spell effects in this game.
squad up. You would die if this was a frost mage with like 8 frozen orbs out plus the squad coming out. You would have 0 FPS. It would just be over for you. 2-minute trinket again.
I
Wait,
hope they change some of the stats, like they're not final, because they're all the plate gear is like haste mastery.
I skipped
Not
this
looking
trinket.
good for us.
Mastery trinket. Your spells have a chance to empower the Void Core, granting you 10k intellect for 15 seconds. This chance is increased by 25% while below 50% mana. Did they just make an arcane mage trinket? What the fuck?
Oh. Yep.
Huh?
Word.
Bro. Nah. There's no way. So I don't know if y'all know how Arcane Mage works, right? But mana is like your main resource. You're constantly spending it, right? You obviously don't want to go but your main cooldown that you use to start your whole cooldown thing dumps all of your mana, but then also gives you like 2000% mana regen. So you're gonna be between 0 and 50% mana right at the start of your CDs. So you're just gonna proc this like instantly.
It seems good for healers too, though, right?
Fuck?
High damage intake fights, like fights.
Random proc trinkets are usually not great for healers because so much of healing is just during your CDs now, and you don't really care about outside your CDs too much. So if you proc outside your CDs, it's like, what's the point?
Is the Ardruid the same way?
Yes.
It's the flattest of the healers, but every healer is a ramp spec still.
Yeah, you have Flourish Ramp. Because they've just like made all healers be too like mana costly outside of CDs, so you just like don't want to do shit outside of CDs. What up, Panda? I haven't seen you in a while. But that trinket's interesting. Also, it's got a tier set bonus. With something else that summons Void Glass Shards. No idea what that is, but it looks like a weapon. Void Glass Sovereign's Blade. Okay.
This is a lot of block weapons.
Okay, and then the trinket off the last boss. Harvest balls and abilities have a chance to strike your target, dealing damage and amplifying their gravity to increase the damage of future combats by 5%. Okay, upon death, enemies implode, dealing damage to per gravity stack split between nearby enemies. Stop splitting my damage. Just give me uncapped AoE, you cowards. You haven't played WoW this season? Holy shit, dude. I didn't think it had even been that long. I haven't played WoW in 3 weeks. We're basically the same. Okay, I mean, it's going to depend on tuning. I'm not that excited about these trinkets. Maybe that's just because Spy Master has existed and nothing will ever be as good as that. But, you know, it is what it is. Also have a weapon? Okay, so this guy has the weapon. Does he also give the trinket? He doesn't. He gives the trinket. So this has stats and has an equip effect. Slicing enemies. Okay, so this is just gonna be Biss, right?
Soul Hunters does drop tier though, by the way, so even though it's quote unquote optional, you're still probably gonna want to kill it.
You're gonna want to kill it just to fill out Vault and stuff. I'm sure it has some decent gear as well.
It's got the boots that increase your cloak effect too.
Does this weapon have like full stats? 20k intellect, 400 crit, 900 haste. 20k intellect, 400 crit, 900 mastery. Yeah, okay. Oh, but do all the weapons from the raid have that effect? Okay, all the weapons from the raid have that. That makes sense then. I was gonna say, they just make one weapon way better than everything else, but no. That's nice. That way you don't feel shitty for getting one weapon instead of the others. That's actually really good. Also, the third boss drops the Abyss weapon, so hooray. A lot of haste. What's the last boss actually dropped in? Waist, legs. Turns your cloak into a defensive CD. Okay, alright. I am out. Thanks for coming. I will do this again next Thursday for the last 4. See you guys. Alright, stream. Yeah, Panda. Just go get a heroic kill. Walk into some shit. That'll be fine. You can buy a mythic kill from us, but that's gonna be expensive. Also, you would not get the mount because we have one more raid day and then we're leaving, and we need that raid day to give everybody mounts, including myself. Ooh. Alright, well, I am done. I'm hyped for this raid. I love void effects. It's going to be awesome. I am not raid testing next week. I will be raid testing for Mythic Week only. So I'll just be watching my friends do heroic testing. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I will stream again soon. Don't know. This is kind of the dead time of the season. I'm not really doing much Mythic Plus. I got a lot of in real life stuff going on, job interviews, yada yada, vacation planning, all this stuff. So I'm busy, but I will at least be around on Tuesday and Thursday next week. Tuesday's our last raid. Thursday is more boss review. So thanks for coming. Catch you guys around.